part-time job openings. Best of all, it's completely free for job seekers to access anytime, day or night. So if you're ready to land a job close to home, make IllinoisJobPost.com your first stop. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. Brought to you by your friends at the regional radio stations.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Breann Titus. She is Chief Visionary Officer with Community Action. I'm not getting that wrong. That is way too, it's way too cool, way too unique. I'm not going to get that one wrong. How are you, Breann?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well. You know, I was thinking about this just as we got started. We were talking about all the stuff our kids are doing and running here and there and how we keep up with it all. Is there, like, you've got a high schooler and a junior high. Yeah. Is there ever a downtime for you, like, through the course of the year?
Not usually.
Yeah.
I will say, shockingly enough, this week has actually been fairly what you would consider downtime.
Yeah.
I think it's just where the seasons are falling.
We're between seasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And so there wasn't a lot going on outside of a few practices here and there.
Okay.
But I try to take advantage of that when I can, because I know that that's
short-lived. Oh yeah, I feel that 100%. Yep. And I'll be honest, like, my kids aren't even in that much, and it's just like when you get even 3 days of downtime, it's like, and you just like, yeah, and then it flies. I mean, it just flies. So anyways, I don't think people want to hear us vent about parenting, although that would be a fun show sometime.
I'm sure people would be like, yes, I feel validated.
Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely. But we need to talk about community action, Breann. Yeah. And I know there's a lot to dive into. Let's start with government shutdown and how that impacted community action. Is anything out of what transpired with the shutdown going to impact you all? Let's dive into some of those things to start.
Yeah. So this is not the first time, even in the 10 years that I've been with Capsule, that we've had to deal with the government shutdown. It's never not nerve-wracking, because you just don't know. From day to day, you don't know what to expect. You follow it as best you can. Our CEO is very good about staying on top of things and making sure that she's paying attention to see how that's going to affect us. We have a lot of like community action partners, that's kind of our higher up partners that keep us in the loop as much as possible. But our biggest focus during this entire thing was business as usual. We're going to continue to serve the customer as long as we can until we can't. And that customer is still going to be a priority for us, even though we as staff is maybe nervous about what the next week or the next month is going to look like. And so thankfully, majority of our grants all had allocations already laid out. And so the fiscal year 25 money was there. And so we could really continue those programs. We didn't have to do any immediate suspension of services. We didn't have to do any immediate closure of any of our services and programs. The biggest nerve-wracking part for us was some of the programs that had not yet received their allocations going into 2026.
Okay.
Because if you haven't looked at the calendar here recently, we are very close to 2026, which is a whole nother story for a whole different day, because goodness gracious, where did time go?
I know it.
But so that was the nerve-wracking part for us, is like, okay, well, what happens after January 1?
Sure.
What happens after this fiscal year funds end? So thankfully, we don't have to worry about that currently,
right?
Because the government shutdown has ended. And so we really had no disruption of services. We're so thankful for that. And a lot of times, if there is any type of delay in funding when it comes to a government shutdown, some of our private donations that come in, our unrestricted donations that come into the agency really help us through those times, and those times of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So,
which kind of speaks to where we're maybe going next is, contribute end of year contributions, right?
Absolutely. So, those really help in so many different scenarios, whether that's a client that comes in and, falls within the gaps of our services. And maybe we don't have a specific program that fits to what they need. Those donations help. When we deal with government shutdowns like this, which we can't predict, we can't do anything about that. We can't change what is happening. But we still want to be able to provide services to our customers and not have to disrupt any of that. And the way that we kind of protect ourselves in that manner is by those private donations and unrestricted donations from the community members that come in. So
sure,
we're grateful for that. We're grateful that we have now until at least January 30th. But the craziest thing is when the government is shut down, a lot of our funding sources, especially if they're federal government funding sources, we have zero contact with our funding sources.
Oh, really? So like, what does that look like?
Scary.
Oh, okay.
So like, for example, I help with a foster grandparent program, and that is through AmeriCorps Senior, and that is a federal program. And so
you like can't talk to them.
Yeah, there's no communication because they're furloughed in most cases. And so like usually every funding source assigns you a program monitor to be there to answer questions if you have them, or to ask for additional approvals if necessary that are grant related. When they're on furlough, there is zero contact with them. So when we have questions about our grant, yes, we have a handbook. Yes, we have federal policies that we can look back at and go, okay, well, how do we interpret this? How can we stay within that guideline? How can we make the best decision we can based on this information? But having a physical person to go to and say, hey, is this okay?
Yeah.
We have your contact with them.
Yeah. And that was almost a month, right?
Yeah. So that's scary. And especially if we have certain grants like our weatherization program that's doing closeouts right now. And so when you don't have anybody to communicate with doing a closeout, if there's a question or a challenge that comes up, who do you ask? And so that is something people I don't think realize when they say government shutdown. We're still working. We're still distributing funds. We're still helping the customer.
Your services go on.
Right. But we have zero contact with our funding source unless it's state funded.
Yeah. Now, where does what is the breakdown of your funding? Like in your budget, where does it come from?
Yeah. So 75% of it actually comes from the federal government.
Okay.
We are not a government agency, because a lot of times people think, oh, well, you receive government funding, you're a government agency. We are not. We are a private 501c3 nonprofit. We are not a government agency, but 75% of our funding overall comes from the federal government. And then we have probably 20-ish% that comes from state funding or a state pass-through. And then the rest is coming in from private donations, foundational grants, unrestricted donations, things like that.
Gotcha. So it sounds like more like where you turn for answers has returned more than what transpired through that process of the shutdown is going to impact you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're hoping, obviously we know there's going to be a backlog, and that is still nerve-wracking, just to make sure that, we get what we need. But we hope over the next 60 days that some of those fiscal year 26 allocations will start to come down. And so even if there is another government shutdown at the end of January, we still know the funding is there and we can still continue business.
Sure. Breann Titus is a Chief Visionary Officer with Community Action, our guest in studio for today. I want to go back to something we kind of touched on in that conversation, was the end of year giving. Of course, this is the time of year where nonprofits are making a push for their groups to be part of your end of year giving plans. I wonder even, if you're thinking of of people scaling back on that front because of the economic times and everything. Let's just speak to end of year giving, Breann. What are you thinking there?
Absolutely. So we realize that times right now are tough for everyone, with inflation and just the, uncertainty of the government shutdown, even some people that have lost their jobs temporarily due to the government shutdown. And so we understand that, but we also want to stress that everything adds up. So if that's something that you can give less than you gave last year, that's still okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in a place where you can give, we encourage you to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We've been around since 1966. So we've been around doing this a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're respected in the community. I feel like we're good stewards of funds. I feel like we can be trusted with those donations. And so even if you've never, ever gave a donation to community action agencies before, I think this is something something to look into. We service 6 counties total, including DeWitt, obviously. And every single county, every single community needs some help somewhere, shape, or form. And as much as many programs as we offer, as you can tell by our website and whatnot, there is still always gaps. There's always a situation that we're like, that's an exception, or, oh, that doesn't fit within our parameters. But do we just turn that person away and say, I'm sorry, we can't help you, and we have no idea who can?
Yeah.
No, we don't want to do that. So we really do encourage those donations to come in so that we can make that determination for that family at that time. I talk a lot about homeless families. If you haven't noticed, there is an increase in homeless population within our rural communities. And we see it more and more. And of course, wintertime is very hard for that type of population.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes they need a hotel stay. They need, if it's very bitterly cold outside, they need to go somewhere. They need to get to a shelter. There's no shelters in rural communities, not a lot, at least.
Is your contact with those individuals increasing as well?
Yes. They're coming to us going, what can you do? I mean, how can you help me? Even the local police department sometimes refer those people to us to help. And what we don't want to do is say, unfortunately, we don't have funds for that.
Right.
And so whether that's transporting them to a local shelter, that costs money, whether that is putting them in a hotel temporarily so they're not out in the bitter cold, especially if there's children involved, that costs money. As we know, everything costs money.
Right.
And so we want to be able to do the best we can with the money that we receive. So if you're somebody that feels like, I'm just one person, I can't make a change, your donation can, because it adds up, and it allows us to be able to help those people that maybe you don't know about or aren't aware are struggling.
I wonder, and forgive me for having a squirrel moment, back to our conversation about the impact of the government shutdown. I wonder, did you see, like, those folks that didn't have their SNAP benefits? Did you see an increase in contact with those individuals needing help?
And how did that impact you? Calls, because we used to, as you know, we used to have food pantries. We do not anymore. But we got a lot of phone calls about emergency food boxes or food pantry resources. Do you have emergency grocery gift cards, things like that? And unfortunately, we don't offer that service right now.
Sure.
We do have a couple of counties that we've received private donations in that county to where we're able to purchase gift cards to, like, the local county market or the local Aldi. And then we can hand them a gift card and say, hey, we don't have emergency food boxes, but we can give you a gift card to go feed your family.
There you go.
And so that comes from those unrestricted and private donations. And so if that's something that you're interested in, say, hey, I'm going to give you a $500 donation, and I want that to go towards some gift cards, or just go purchase the gift cards yourself if that's what you want to do, and then bring them to us so we can give them to families that need them. We have access to those families that a lot of people don't have access to.
And I know, the way we're talking, it sounds like community action is just a handout program, but at the end of the day, your goal is a hand up, right?
Absolutely.
So do you try, when you make contact with those individuals, to say, hey, we can help you with this program, or this is available to you to maybe, it's something you have to invest in yourself, but it could help you get out of the situation you're in? Do you try to push those things?
100%. And that has always been our philosophy, at least for the last 10 years, is, those emergency services is what initiates that contact. So when they come to us in in crisis, and they come to us and they are just in that situation where they're like, I can't even feed my family. That is what initiates contact for us. They come to us because they think we can help. And sometimes we do. It's a matter of, hey, you know what? We know you're in crisis at this current moment. And if you've ever dealt with somebody that is in crisis and can't feed their children, that is all they can think about.
Oh, yeah.
And so being able to serve that need in the immediate time frame that they need, but still be able to have those conversations with them about what comes next is huge. Because if you say, hey, I know you're in crisis, I can't do anything about that right now, but let's sit and talk about your future.
Yeah,
they're going to be like, sorry, peace out. No, thank you.
100%. 100%.
And so sometimes even with our LIHEAP program, like that's more of a emergency service, but that's when they come to us and we start to say, hey, have you thought about this? Or, hey, how's your job search going? Can we help you with that? Hey, how's your budget? Have you looked at your budget? And so those conversations get to happen in those moments when that emergency is initiated. But a lot of times you can't reach somebody if you're not going to deal with the emergency first and get them out of that mindset where they're like, okay, now I can feed my family. Now I can feed my children. Now I'm willing to talk about that.
Exactly. Yep. Get them through that crisis. And that builds a rapport, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they
sure.
know that we're thinking about them in all aspects and in a full round concept. And sometimes that conversation literally goes like this. Okay, you need to feed your family. We're going to give you a gift card to the local grocery store so you can go feed your family. How old are your kids? Okay, are they in school? No. We have a Head Start program that can get you in to get your kids so that you can go to work because now your kids are taken care of during the day.
Right.
So let's get them enrolled in Head Start. And then while they're in Head Start, let's look at your resume. Let's look at interview skills. Let's do some mock interviews. Let's look at where we can apply to jobs so that you can get a job while they're in Head Start and going to school. And so it kind of starts to tumble like that. And then all of a sudden, this person that came to us that's in full crisis mode actually has a plan. And that plan is working towards a better future for them instead of just, okay, here's your gift card. And now when that's gone, now you're back in crisis.
100%. Yep. Very good. Breann, we have gone way over our allotted time in this first segment. Where do folks go for all things community action?
Yes. Capsule website, which is capsule.info, is a great place. And then also our Facebook page is updated every single day. So follow us on Facebook, or you can call our central office at 217-732-2159.
That is Breann Titus, Community Action, our guest in studio. We'll wrap things up with Breann coming up on the morning show.
WHOW. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock. With people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
At SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln, our team makes it easy to get your flu shot and protect the people you care about most. Book your appointment now by clicking the SIU Family Medicine icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Breann Titus is the Chief Visionary Officer for Community Action, our guest in studio today. And Breann, today's one of those days I probably could have just skipped right through the break and we could have just kept on going right into LIHEAP and the assistance of LIHEAP. And I venture a guess again, we go back to the challenging economic times times and all the things going on in society right now, probably a huge demand for LIHEAP at this point.
Yes, and I've noticed an increase too with people that have never received LIHEAP assistance before, thanks to the utility bills increasing. And then, of course, depending on what's happening with other things, inflation, and then, of course, if they've lost their job temporarily for a furlough. So we've had a lot of increase there. Our LIHEAP staff is amazing. Anita has been on the radio a couple of different times, but I'm sure she's very humble about it. They work with basically, they have 2 full-time people, a director and a part-time person. They service 5 counties total, and they've already completed probably 1,500 applications since October 1st.
Oh, wow.
And so they are moving at a pace of lightning to get these applications done, to get these bills paid for these customers so they can move forward, in hopes that whatever money that family can save because we're able to pay their electric bill, they can actually provide a family holiday. So that hopefully is what the goal is there. And November 1st is when it opened up to the general population and general public. And so we are currently taking appointments. I will tell you, I was making appointments yesterday, and they're slim. So, if you have any type of schedule that makes it difficult for you to be available for an appointment, which they're all phone appointments, definitely call ASAP because they are filling up and they're filling up quickly. And I want to stress something I've heard a lot over the phone. They call and say, I have a disconnect. And I say, okay, well, when is your disconnect for? Tomorrow. With the way that the current climate is with utility assistance and utility bills and the need there is for energy assistance, we can't make it happen that fast in all the cases. So we know, based on our experience, that you've known for a while when that disconnect is going to happen. Please, I stress, do not wait until the last minute, because then they get upset, and not necessarily at us, but they get upset and frustrated because they're like, what am I supposed to do? It's getting colder outside. I've got kids. I need I need electricity because I'm on oxygen, and now I'm getting disconnected. We don't know what to tell you to do because we're only so many people. So please be conscious of that and make your appointment ASAP.
And how do they do that?
Go to capsule.info. There is a tab at the top called LIHEAP. You can schedule your own appointment online, or you can call us at 217-732-2159.
Very good, Breann. Always good to see you. Happy holidays. Hope to see you soon. Breann Titus, Community Action, our guest, Network News on the way.
WHOW.